Welcome to Pen and Gadget, and this is a Monteverde Regatta Sport. Let's take this puppy out here. This is a nice presentation. I did another Monteverde, one of their more affordable pens. A little review. You can look at that in my recent video uploads. But this has kind of got this. I'm a Rolex man. Although you don't see me wearing any watches, this kind of reminds me of the Rolex Green and the Rolex Green, case presentation. Anywho, let's open this up here, and whoa, let's jump right in here. This is bright. Right off the bat, beautiful presentation, box wise. This is a nice way to present a pen. Now let's take this out. It's got this little strap that holds it in. We're going to put this aside. We'll lift up. There's a little tab here. We'll lift up this little trap door. And in here, you've got your choice of blue and black. Comes with those two, which is nice. And then your instructions laid in here. So, nothing too crazy, but just the right size box. I think this is a very pretty box. Nice to take a look at. It's got a pressed in kind of logo and wordage here. A world of luxury and innovation. All right, well, let's see how luxurious and innovative this pen really is. Taking a look at this pen, let's jump in to the close-ups. It is a resin. Oh boy, I'm gonna mess this one up. So whatever I say, take it with a grain of salt. I'll probably correct it. There'll be cards be like, no, it's wrong. It's this, is that. We know this is carbon fiber. It's real carbon fiber. So it's carbon fiber and resin. There's a name for this stuff. I'll put it in the information. But it's a very interesting looking pen. And again, I'm about design, so we're going to hit on a lot of design notes right now. First thing I thought, which is not a plus to me, is it kind of looks like a vape pen with this, even though it's capped. This looks like, you'd put it in your mouth and this is like a vape, fancy vape pen, which I'm not too keen on. Design-wise, we'll get into it. On here we have the Monteverde name, USA, and then the Regatta name, and this is a smoked steel, I believe, and yeah. In terms of so we have this finial. This is their logo. It's in plastic, which is an interesting choice, but it looks like it feels like just ABS plastic. But we get it right up in here. Let's see. Yeah. I mean, still well executed. But yeah, that's their logo on the top. And overall, I would say this color combination, you have to like this. This is the Halloween, if you will, color combo. I picked this over. They have a few choices. There's the standard. There's like a blue and a yellow, which is in this material. So it's blue, yellow, blue, yellow, blue. I got this one just because it stood out and it was so different, and it had a little touch of carbon fiber, which is nice. It just offsets everything. Yeah, so anywho, let's uncap it. This is their party trick. It's a push-pull magnetic securing cap. That is the magnet. This inner ring right here, that is the magnet, and that just clips on like that. I haven't done this test yet, the shake test with this one. Oh, it's actually pretty good. It's actually better than their more affordable one. So that's nice. Wiggle wise, I think, yeah, I mean, if I just apply a little bit of pressure, it does that. It attaches itself. It's like it's not going to fall off. But I know we're getting nitpicky. This is also kind of an affordable pen. So I found this one on Amazon with a broad nib, which not a lot of people purchase. So that I think they marked it down so it would sell. This is a broad nib, and let's jump on into the nib. Yeah, as you can see, broad nib, Jovo number 6 size. There's the 1.1 millimeter. And then the double signed, it's got Monteverde USA on the bottom. And then for some reason, they really wanted to market this thing. Only millimeters away, there's another Monteverde signature. Why they double sign this, I don't know, but they're happy. They like their branding, so they're gonna double sign it. It's got this smoked finish on it. This is a regular, steel nib. I've mentioned it in my other review. I don't know which one's coming out, so maybe this is the first time you're hearing it, but I don't like these coatings. They tend to muck up an otherwise good nib. They did a very good, spacing wise. Looks well tuned in that regards. But yeah, I feel like they're either going to wear out or introduce something that I wouldn't like. That ultimately, okay, it's aesthetically pleasing to some. For me, not my cup of tea. Let's move on to the section, and this is where I have my biggest gripe about this pen. I know I'm a critical, reviewer on some of these pens, but for good reason. Not a lot of these reviewers, because sometimes, they get these pens in and they're afraid to be critical and they're afraid to nitpick. I pay with my own money. Nobody asked me to do this review. Nobody said, hey, check this out, or we'll give it to you half off. Nothing. I just saw this on eBay. eBay. Actually, I did see one of these on eBay. I saw it on Amazon and I was like, that's an interesting looking pen. Let's get it in. Let me buy it. And let's go about it. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is there's a symmetrical thing going on here. Let's jump on down here. First of all, let's do a quick measurement. This is a full size pen here. So we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 inches capped. And then we'll do this, but we'll get down in a minute with why I wouldn't post this pen, but I would have to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5. So it grows a whole inch, basically, when you post it. And those of you know I don't like posting my pens. This is an interesting choice. It almost looks like this is one of those double pens where they have like a broad nib and then like a fine nib, so you can flip it over and use a different one. It looks like one of those, just you broke the nib off. I'm not so sure I like this, and I'm not so sure I like this. And this is now we're coming down to personal preference. This is too small. This is a normal size pen. This is a full size pen, right? This is a number 6 Jovo nib. This is a full size pen, okay? But this section is so small. In fact, it's so small. Let's get in nice and close here. It's so small. Look at that. It's as thick as the nib is thick here. That's really small. It's basically you're holding on to the nib as a section. And if anything, it's even skinnier because it tapers right here. So in fact, yeah, it's skinnier than that. Yeah, I don't know why they made this decision. It's clearly an aesthetic decision, which is fine by me because I'm all about aesthetics. But the feel in the hand, I'm not so sure. This is a weird feeling to have this size pen, and then the nib. I'm like, it's so pinchy that you really have to grip on it, and it's very slick. And because it has that swoop in it, if you grab up high, you tend to sink back down because of the the hourglass shape is not in the middle. It happens, towards the last fourth of it. So even if you choke up on it, by the time you're applying pressure and it's pretty darn slippery. I don't like that they replicated it here either, because I feel like if I removed that, right, and just put like that much on the end, because that's all that the cap needs to grab onto, that's a better looking pen to me. I feel like, let me cap it. I feel like that's better looking. I think that's more cohesive. I think this thing on the end looks weird. It looks like a broken pen. It looks like you have a posted broken pen, because this is the exact same size as the other thing. So I don't know, between it looking like a vape pen and a broken pen, I'm not really sold on this design. And again, this is my personal preference. You may think it's awesome looking. And you might also have smaller hands than me. I have, decent size, medium to large hands. There are men out there who have very large mitts that could probably span this whole thing. But, there you go. There's my wingspan, if you will. We do it this way so you can see it's about 10 inches. It feels imbalanced. I want to grip it here. This is where I want to grip it. That's what I want to do. Let's jump in here so you can see what my hand is doing. Ultimately, I'm trying to choke up on it a little bit, and my fingers are, gripping there. So even if I'm holding here, here's the other thing I'm noticing. And this is all off the cuff, guys. I don't write scripts here. I'm noticing that even when I'm trying to grab here at the smallest point, the rest of my finger is still holding on here because of A, the size of my fingers, but B, the giant step down between this area and this area. It's such a giant step that your finger has to touch, So I think this was an aesthetic choice only, and no one put this in their hands and decided, let me write with this thing for a couple of hours before we churn these things out and make it a model. I'm not so sold on this this design here. With that said, let's open it up. If this is a little tight, you might need to put a little piece of rubber to hold here, because this is very smooth, polished, and slick. Unscrew here. We will see that there is a screw-in converter. This is a piston converter. There you go. And this is a screw-in, which is nice. And it does come with a little bit of silicone grease already on the threads, which is an extra nice little touch, just so they, it's in there. You don't have to pull this out to fill it up. You just tip it in and, plunge away, basically. Yeah, I feel like, well, okay, so here's another thing. Full size, okay. They added this section so that you could fit a full-size cartridge in, because that's how deep it goes in. Look at that. So it sits right like that. So this goes all the way to the end. But if you didn't use a converter and you just used a standard cartridge, you could have eliminated this whole thing and just had a standard cartridge. Even better, if you just put an O-ring, oh, maybe not, because this is a lot of different materials together. Maybe not. Yeah, because inside I could see that even the materials are butted up. Let's zoom in, take a look in the inside here. Let's see, going in. Okay, we're inside the pen now. Yeah, I see the, let's get here. No, I cannot focus, but basically the sections here are in there, so it's not like a smooth barrel. So that would create, I guess, problems for that. So no, we cannot eyedropper this. However, we could have put a regular, standard size cartridge and eliminated this long protrusion that is basically another section. And I think it would have looked better. I think that looks like a nice thing. To be honest, I mean, this is how weird I am. Being a weirdo, and I did do a lot of machining work. I would take this off or cut this off and put a little end cap. I'd machine an end cap for this thing. So it's just like that long. It would still post because the magnet is right there at the bottom, and it would just attach. So, maybe I'll work on this pen. Maybe I'll make this a custom, version of this pen. But yeah, those are my outlooks. It's a broad nib. I don't really do writing samples. I'm not going to have an opinion on the nib because my opinion on these more affordable pens that have, these standard Jowo nibs that they brand. If the nib is no good, get yourself your favorite Jowo nib and put it in there. The nib units, this can be replaced with a standard screw-in Jowo nib, and I would just do that. I wouldn't go crazy and be like, oh, this that. I would say, okay, out of the box, for all these types of pens, if you're going to collect them, just get yourself one of your favorite, Jowo nibs and get like 2 or 3 of them. And any pen now that you buy, if you don't like the nib, just slap that nib on it and you're done. And yes, it's an extra expense. You're paying more for something that should be nice out of the box, maybe. But each nib is different and each manufacturer is different. And that's the whole thing about collecting, is you're going to get different flavors from different manufacturers. So ultimately, broad nib, maybe it's for you. I tested the other nib and it flowed just fine. So, I can speak on their nibs out of the box. It well adjusted and wrote fine, and it had a little feedback to it, but it was an extra fine. So I'm sure this is nice and smooth, considering it's a broad nib. But yeah, I don't know if there's much else for me to add to this. It is critical. I'm being critical, but I think it's important to be critical in life, and not just, everything peaches and flowers. I think we should think critically. Anywho. Yeah, this pen, it's something that you might have to grow to like. And I think I turned my autofocus off. Now I got to manually tap on everything. But yeah, I think ultimately I would like this pen to look like this and unposted like that. And, and posted, I wouldn't do it because it's too big. And we'll touch on this too. It's back heavy. This is got some heft to it, and it's pulling my hand back like this. Yeah. I hate being somewhat a negative Nancy. I will say this: it is innovative in the sense of their designs. It's different. It's this symmetrical, nib section type thing. But yeah, not for me. I might do something drastic and create my own version of this pen by lobbing off this end. And making it a pocket pen, and that might be something I do. Anywho, I'm done rambling on. This has been Pen and Gadget saying sayonara.